Ellie, we were talking about technology. What is your view of the role of the school system in the classroom with the kids concerning technology?
Realistically, there has to be a paradigm shift. I think we learned that from the recent election and other things that are going on around us nationally and internationally, that we have to become engaged with the social media. And students, I think engaging students in school, I think this is one way, one tool, one opportunity for us to get kids more engaged. Teachers have all kinds of strategies and techniques and teaching opportunities, flipping classrooms where kids can use technology at home to prepare for class the next day. Then they can actually work on the task in school, but they have to have the iPads or the Chromebooks or the cell phones. So I think the days, as Mark referred to, of suspending students for bringing these tools into school, now we're asking students to bring them in school and use them appropriately, obviously.
So you'd come down on the side then, Ellie, of not only do you think it's absolutely necessary, but it can be a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. We have to meet them at their level of engagement, and I think that's one way to get kids
And their
really...
level of engagement, when they get to 4 or 5 and they hit kindergarten, they're already engaged.
Exactly.
Joe?
Jim, I think there needs to be a balance, and I don't think we should ever lose sight of the other piece of the equation. Good teachers are still great role models and mentors, and that's always part of teaching and learning. With that being said, I stood 2 weeks ago in front of 1,000 staff members, and we launched Virtual STEM University.
Virtual STEM.
We did.
STEM an acronym?
Science, technology, engineering, and
Okay.
math. And just how far this world has changed in the careers of those in the audience. So if you're a veteran teacher, you remember having purple fingers because with the old machine, that's all you did. You made dittos. You made dittos from when you had purple fingers for the entire year.
Mark
It is
doesn't know
true.
what you're
It's true.
talking
No,
about.
I have no idea what you're referring to.
None at all. Right.
Look at the staff. Remember when Johnny Carson used
That's
to
don't
right.
understand.
And they're saying Johnny who. So yeah, they're
Go ahead.
So the veteran teacher has that, but that's been the evolution from turning the copy machine with it. Now we're loading units onto a website. We have a webmaster. If I'm a 4th grade science teacher, I'm going to click, and it absolutely has an assurance not only of STEM, which is where you talked about jobs, where tomorrow's jobs are going to be, but it offers us the assurance that the whole thing is digital citizenship. And that's what it's called. And what that means is that we have to make sure that every student is prepared to be a digital citizen. And Ellie spoke to it, Mark spoke to it. And the piece that is complex is the devices that students are bringing in many cases, trump what we have in our public schools.
Right.
Smart technology 5
Right.
years ago, 7 years ago, every classroom needed smart technology. That's old technology today.
Yeah.
We
Changes
don't need,
every 6
we don't
months.
need that. We're building a brand new, two brand new middle schools. The technology that we had in our specs 2 years ago is all being redesigned 2 years later. And we haven't even built the building yet.
Yeah. You know, I have to make a quick editorial comment. One of the things I love about you people in education is you really trump the people in consulting, because really, you guys, no disrespect, you guys come up with new phrases all the time.
We do.
We love acronyms. We love them.
But he came up with digital
citizenship.
You like that,
I
though.
absolutely love it.
STEM to STEAM.
STEM guys are unbelievable. Okay, so what do you think? I mean, you were called everything, Mark, from a great innovator to, well, it wasn't.
Well, yes.
It wasn't very pleasant.
Leave that one
It
out.
wasn't
Not
very pleasant.
principled.
It wasn't very pleasant. But so.
This is where our students are. We need to meet them at their learning level. Good teaching is still going to be good teaching. My concern is that the pace of technology in our students' learning curve is much better than my own. We need to make sure that we provide support for our staffs as well. And if we don't do that, then we're asking our staff to teach in a way they're going to be uncomfortable, and we're going to get terrible results.
You know what? I have 2 concerns. Concern number 1 is what you just said. I mean, when I'm talking with my grandchildren, I look at them sometimes like, where did you learn that? Right? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm projecting backwards and saying, I didn't pick that stuff up until like I was in high school. And you're in elementary school right now. And of course, what they're doing is they're doing this, right, on all their devices. So I worry that the technological lag that sets in, right, which is the teacher is over here, Here comes the kindergarten, and before you know it, they're overtaking the knowledge of the teacher. Not literally, but you know what I'm saying, Mark. The other thing is to the point that you made. Now I'm going to use your term almost like against you, Joe. If I'm a digital citizen as a student, right? One of the corollaries to that is I don't need you as much as I needed you before, because this makes me very independent. And Joe, I can tell you, one of the things that I see in my college students is a tremendous difficulty in communicating. They are so used to communicating with each other this way that when I stand them up in front of the classroom and say, tell me a little bit about yourself, they're semi-catatonic. They have a very difficult time, but they're masters at communicating with each other with all the electronic devices. So where do you see this leading?
Well, my opinion and my impression is that perhaps in my career, certainly in Mark's career, that whole virtual piece, which is just enormous in higher education, we will have juniors and seniors in high school taking their English class in their pajamas at home and never coming to school. The whole focus in the concept of school is going to go through enormous change.
So what you're saying is the physical workplace
No question.
is going to be overcome by the virtual workplace.
Absolutely.
And distance learning, Ellie, now, there are millions of kids that use distance learning, right?
And I think the other point is, you made a very good point. How are we as school districts going to adjust our expectations and adjust our offerings to students and to keep pace with the change? One of the things that we noticed, you talked about students not being able to communicate in front of class with all the texting and the sort of approximations of the English language that goes on with texting and email.
The truncating, right.
Right. Will these kids be able to write coherent, beautiful sentences when they get to college? I mean, that's the balance I think that Joe is referring to, and Mark, is you can't lose sight of the fact that we still have a world that maybe isn't keeping pace with the change as fast as it's coming, and somehow you have to keep a balance.
Well, I think there's also going to be other challenges. I mean, for these two right now, Ellie, right? I mean, if it were 10 or 15 years from now, if you take what Joe was saying and project it into what Joe and Mark are in right now, I don't know about Plymouth, he's building two big, beautiful new middle schools.
Correct.
He's in the process of building two big, beautiful high schools. So it's 10 years from now,
I won't have any new schools.
you will not have any new schools.
So therefore,
that's
my
the point,
students,
right?
my
Somebody's
students,
going to stand up and say, Joe, why should I spend $90 million when I can do distance learning with these kids?
In the same vein, that in Southington Public Schools' long-term plan, in black and white language, it's very clear that within 3 years, we will no longer be purchasing any textbooks.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because of the
you can do it online.
Online.
Correct.
Well, when you do your device.
And it's a price break. I mean, we're reaching those points now where you can get it online for a cost savings from getting a hard copy. But again, it gets back to balance. We're still running public speaking classes as we're doing bring your own device lessons in our history classes. So it's keeping that healthy balance, because communication is never going to be just through that device. There needs to be some face-to-face communication
Mark,
as well. That's not going away.
I tell you, one of the biggest exposures that I see is that unless the administrators and the teachers in the education system, starting all the way back in kindergarten forward, make the kids aware of the socialization of the workplace and how you're going to have to comport yourself inside and out of the workplace, left to their own devices, these little mental giants that I see nowadays, they're going to keep on gravitating to more and more technology, and they're going to be fed more and more technology. So you're going to pick up a pretty large challenge. You really are.
And that's why, again, you talk about family involvement and community involvement. And that's why you may see Little League numbers declining. We need to make sure that our students are active. So for us, a key component of especially some of our extended day programs is exercise. We want kids to be active. We want them interacting with others. I'm thrilled that my own kids love their devices, love my iPad, can set up folders better than I can. But I also want them being out with their friends, riding their bike. I want them participating in leagues. That's so important to building a well-rounded citizen.
The socialization part?
And schools and education can't lose sight of that value either.